Brad Nortman from KBN. You're listening to 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam, WBEVAM, Beaver Dam, Dodge County, a locally owned Good Karma brand station.
Corey Sparks.
For Marshall against Johnson Crick. We're going to go with that, I guess.
And Wally Lukaczynski.
Enjoy the fake-tainted national title, you scumbags.
Covering everything from the green and gold to pro, college, and high school sports around South Central Wisconsin. Broadcasting live from the Daily Dodge TV studios. This is the Dam Sports Show, presented by Real Sports Cards in Waupun on Daily Dodge TV and 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam.
So much to cover today, from Green Bay to Milwaukee to Beaver Dam to Sun Prairie. We'll talk Packers with Jason Wilde in just a little bit. Bucks, their colossal comeback yesterday. Beaver Dam spring sports across the board. We are covering quite a bit tomorrow, weather permitting. And why Sun Prairie? Well, that is exactly where I, Corey Sparks, and my co-host, Wally Lukaczynski, went on a little movie date yesterday for a horror movie. So we're going to cover all that today.
I'm very excited. It was a good movie. I was
not
worried.
Not the way we expected.
No, it was a little bit more of a thinker, which you and I were talking the entire way back. Again, yeah, we had our movie date. It was very fun. I regretted extending the invite as soon as you kept calling it that. But it happened, and here we are. We're still alive. I'm taking it on the chin.
Still alive.
I'm still alive, and I got my last little cheat meal. I get one more next week with Ty Boschek coming to town. But otherwise, we are back on the tilapia diet for the rest of the little stretch here. And I'm seeing the light at the end of the tunnel. It's getting brighter. You look behind me, it's a lot less light. For the longest time, it felt like that tunnel, I was at the mouth of it. Now we're getting close to the end, so we're getting there. We're getting there.
The light is getting a lot more prominent. You're either listening to us on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam or watching on Daily Dodge TV. This is the Dam Sports Show, brought to you by Real Sports Cards in Waupun. And if you're watching on Daily Dodge TV, you see the counter on the bottom for Wally's Fasting Frenzy. It says 11 days remain, and yes, please donate to St. Vincent de Paul right here in Beaver Dam or come to the station at 100 Bill McCullum Way. But it's technically like 10 days and 8 hours. So that's good. That has been deceiving in a good way for you.
I know. This time tomorrow, we're in single digits, and that felt like it was never going to come. I'd be lying to sit here and tell you that I've been like, yip, yip, hooray, more fish. But it's gone to a point where I'm kind of like numb to it. I like go home and I'm just like, all right, I guess this is it. I got to put gas in the car. I got to put fuel in the body.
That's kind of sad.
It's a little sad, but you know what? I know it's going for a great cause, and we have, again, over 1,000 donations right now. I can't thank you, Dodge County, enough. Really, really, really would love to get to 1,500. I know that they could use it over there, so keep donating it. We appreciate it. I appreciate it. And I can't wait to reflect back here in a couple weeks.
Looking forward to you having a better palate of food than the usual fish, rice, and, of course, water. We need water. Let's welcome on three-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Jason Wilde. He joins us now here on the Dam Sports Show. You can hear him live on Wilde and Tausch weekdays from 9 a.m. until noon across ESPN Wisconsin or Wisconsin On Demand. Jason, Wally, and I saw a movie together yesterday, shared the same bucket of popcorn. Is that weird to do?
No.
Weird, no. Okay. Unsanitary, maybe.
That's kind of where I was at yesterday. Yeah.
You don't know where those Wally mitts have been. Hey, by the way, so the big voice guy says Wally Lukaczynski. You just called him a much softer cha, right? It was Wally Lukaczynski. Which is correct.
This is such a journalistic question, and I appreciate you here, Jason, because I've given up correcting people. The name, it's like, you pronounce it like Lukaczynski, like Shensky.
What? We need to fix that.
Well, and I don't care. It's one of those things. People know me as Lukaczynski. I could not care less. So, you know what? Call me by whatever. I'm a man of many names, Jason. I'm very happy to accept them all.
Wait, but give me the correct pronunciation again?
Lukaczynski. Lukaczynski.
Shen,
like S-H-E-N, exactly.
We're going to fix that.
Lukaczynski.
That's true. See, this is perfect. You're already doing it better than 99% of the people I've met in my life.
I'm probably doing it better than some people who have the last name Lukaczynski.
Yeah, you're 100% right. We actually had this conversation with my sister about a year ago, and my dad and I had to break her heart and be like, yeah, that's like not your last name, actually.
So that's interesting because Wes Hodkiewicz of Packers.com, who is one of the all-time great human beings, pronounces his last name differently than his own father.
What?
It makes sense. It's true because like my sister literally called my dad and I, and like Wally's saying our last name wrong, and I'm like, Amber, you're not ready to find out the truth. And again, Wally on the right side of history. I know it's a shock to the world, Jason, but yeah, it was one of those again. She'd been saying it Lukashenski, and it's Lukashenski.
We need to fix that in the imaging.
It does not bother me whatsoever. It's literally barking up another tree. It doesn't matter. It's just a name.
I'm just intrigued, and I can't wait to tell this story to Wes Hodkiewicz, which is how other people in his family pronounce his name.
See, I can admire that, though. It gives a little spice to life. It builds conversation, as we have right here. But we're always excited to have you on,
This is
Jason.
like if the girls decided to just go by Madison and Sydney Wilde out of nowhere.
Now, Wilde it's got a flair. There's something about Wilde that I'm just like, that guy's talking Packers.
Yeah, there you go. Well, not right now I'm not. I'm talking about your last name. But I will as soon as we segue.
Well, and you know what? I'll actually do that segue now because I'm really excited to talk about this next question because, Jason, sometimes Corey and I still have to pinch ourselves. We are so fortunate that we get to regularly talk with people like you, and we're very excited to do that each week. And we were listening to you talk to the great Mel Kiper on Wilde and Tausch yesterday, had Joe Thomas on a few weeks ago. You text guys like Devontae and Aaron Rodgers. I have to know, is there anyone that you have on as a guest that you still kind of get starry-eyed and thinking like, wow, this is crazy. I can't believe they let me do this for a living.
Yeah, I first of all, I respect the fact that you guys feel that way. I think it's really important to keep that mentality of knowing how fortunate you are. You know, I didn't have the greatest relationship with my father, but he did work at a factory for 40 years and made sure he provided for us. And so, you know, there was no air conditioning, so in the summertime it's like 125 degrees in there. So that's real work. What we get to do it feels like work from time to time, but like I'm on my way right now. I'm in Madison on my way to the Packers tailgate tour stop. So that's not real work. There's a lot of people working a heck of a lot harder than us. I would say that there is one phone number in my phone that the fact that it's in there, there were no cell phones when I was 10 years old. There was one of my friends' dads was a real estate agent, and he was so popular in the Milwaukee area that he had a phone in his car, but it was like one of those house phones, like a slimline AT&T, like had a cord on it. Like it could have been in his kitchen or been in his car. And so that was the only mobile phone. But had you told a 10-year-old Jason Wilde that he would have this person's phone number in his cell phone after he got done asking what's a cell phone, he would have been amazed, because the fact that I have Robin Yount's phone number, having grown up, you know, worshiping him and him being my favorite athlete and the person I looked up to the most, like that is the still the pinch me kind of, you know, feeling of, wow, that I can't believe that. Like, I've interviewed him now a number of times over the years, but still to be able to cue that up. I have never called him or texted him, just from having him on the show and talking to him and him giving me his number. Like, I don't even know what I'd be like Chris Farley in that old SNL skit. Hey, remember when you had your 3,000th hit? I was in college, and I drove down from Madison to go to County Stadium to watch. Remember that? That was awesome. So I have not used it, but that would be mine. That's the only one on the list, I think.
That's a great answer.
And I remember him being on your show. It was before Game 2 or Game 3 against the Mets in the wild card round this year. Remember that? No, I'm just kidding. But and I could even tell.
I do remember that.
I could tell. I could tell how baffled you were that he was, because I believe Jesse surprised you, or was it Tausch?
I think it was Tausch Jesse does it. I don't want to run down Jesse on your show. He gets run down enough on our show.
Fair enough.
I would just say that I think Tausch was the key piece there.
Okay. Well, I just remembered that happening, and I watched the whole interview and listened to it, and I could tell you were just taking in how cool that was. More of a lighthearted question here for you as well, Jason. I saw you write a story on channel3000.com about the important role that Tucker Kraft could be playing this year, but at the start of it, he was quoted talking about pickleball, saying, "It doesn't matter if you're a teenager or an elderly person, you can get this smoke," before saying he would try a drop shot on a 90-year-old. Is Tucker Kraft the most competitive player on this roster from your perspective?
Ooh, certainly he's competitive when it comes to pickleball. He goes on to admit that Luke Musgrave is better than him.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Luke Musgrave, apparently, according to Tucker anyway, once considered quitting football to become a full-time tennis player. He was also a skier, a downhill skier, so man of many talents. But yeah, I thought it was fun that Tucker talked about that. I thought it was really interesting, just because, first of all, Tausch is like the king of pickleball, but more importantly, like, I just think it's cool that here's a guy who's an elite level athlete, and he did. I saved this for another subsequent story later, but he talked about how when he got drafted to the Packers, Green Bay was the biggest city he'd ever been in.
Oh, wow.
And having grown up in a small South Dakota town, that's just a crazy idea for him, that the big city of Green Bay. And obviously now he and his wife have branched out, and they are expecting their first child, but they go on vacation, they go to places now that he's been in the NFL. But I just thought that was super cool that a guy from a small town in South Dakota is now playing in American professional sports' smallest city. It seems like everything's a really good fit for him, right down to the fact that he's going to Tausch's pickleball place on Holmgren Way to play pickleball a couple times a week.
That is awesome stuff.
Dusting 90-year-olds by the sound of it.
In the great city of Green Bay, there will be a draft in 2 weeks. I don't know why I said it like that. It sounded like Yoda. We've heard a few different positions get tossed out there for potential first-round picks. Will they go pass rusher, edge, corner, offensive line, receiver? Jason, on that scale of likelihood with other positions, for being drafted in the first round, where does wide receiver fall? Is it third, fourth, second, somewhere in there?
Yeah, I think it's pretty high.
Okay.
I mean, I think it's probably second. I would say defensive line first, specifically tackle, and then I would say wide receiver, and then corner, kind of a close third. So look, they're in a position where we don't know how long it's going to take for Christian Watson to get back. We also don't know how good he's going to be when he does come back. Obviously, an ACL tear is a big injury for everyone, but when it happens to Brian Bulaga or Mark Tauscher, they're not running 60-yard deep routes and going from running a 4.3 to even a 1/10 of a second longer. That's the difference between maybe being open and not. Mm-hmm. So I'm really curious to kind of see when he's going to be back. And since he's not going to be back for the start of the season, and the other guys on the list that are members of this wide receiver group, Romeo Doubs, Dontavion Wicks, Jaden Reed, none of those three made meaningful, huge leaps forward during the past season. And so since that's the case, I'm not sure I understand, why folks would think that that's not a position of importance or priority. So I'll be curious to see if, they obviously had Walter's guy, Abuka, in for a visit. They also had Simmons in for a visit, who I'm sure you can give us a good scouting report on, the tackle that tore his patellar tendon. It would be interesting if they went more Ohio State and a little less Georgia in the first round. But, if Abuka's the pick, I mean, that sends you a pretty clear message that they don't know what the future holds for any of these guys at wide receiver. You know, Dobbs is going into the last year of his deal. Watson's going into the last year of his deal. And those other two guys, Wicks and Reed, you know, you thought that you'd be at this point in their careers going, all right, these guys have proven themselves. Now they're going to make a huge leap in year 3 because they made a big leap in year 2, and that wasn't the case. So there are question marks at a position that, despite investing 6 draft picks over the 22 and 23 draft, question marks still exist.
Well, that's kind of, it leads to an interesting kind of pivot point here, because you brought up, too, the original draft man himself, Mel Kiper, that, you know, the Packers don't really take receivers in the first round, and Mel Kiper doesn't believe they will. He thought that it was going to be a second-round pick, if I remember correctly. It seems pretty clear wide receiver isn't in the traditional plans. Is it going to take a truly special talent for them to pull the trigger, or is it just kind of at this point, it is such a need that if someone like Igbuka's there, they would be more likely this year than in past to take a wide receiver?
Yeah, I think, Wally, it all comes down to value, right? Like, if Igbuka is there and people were expecting him to go higher, including obviously the Packers, and he's still available, and he's their highest graded guy, I think they leap at that, right? I mean, they jump at that opportunity. But I do think, you know, I think the concept of best player available is oftentimes a fallacy, especially in today's NFL where, you know, yes, there's been exceptions with the Packers picking quarterbacks so they didn't need them. But your first-round pick, generally, you want them to play right away. I mean, they wanted Jordan Morgan to play right away, and he had the injury issue with his shoulder. But looking back up, that's why they're basically shoehorning him into the starting lineup to compete with a guy who started 35 games at left tackle and Rasheed Walker. So I could also see him go offensive line at 23. So there's nothing that's a slam dunk to me. But you're right. The history there, you know, they've only drafted a wide receiver in the first round 4 times since I was born.
Yeah.
And I'm not a young kid like you guys. Now, the crazy thing about you guys is they've only drafted 1 wide receiver in the first round since you guys were born. And you're not exactly toddlers at this point. So, you know, again, I don't know what'll end up ultimately happening on that Thursday night, but they clearly need wide receiver help if it's available.
Well, Jason, looking forward to seeing you in a couple weeks at the draft, and as always, we appreciate the insight, including you kind of reminding me that I guess I wasn't pronouncing my co-host's name right, which I feel horrible for.
I could not care less.
I feel bad.
But Jason, you're the man as always. We desperately appreciate it, and I'm excited. Are we seeing you in the flesh then in 3 weeks?
Apparently, I didn't realize that you guys were such big deals that you were going to be there. I was not informed of that. Are you going to be doing like an autograph show?
No, I'm probably going to be getting your coffee, Jason. To be honest with you, like, do you like milk or sugar in yours?
No, I get my own coffee. I don't. You guys are rising stars. You got such bright futures. Let's not act like you guys aren't a big deal. So I will be happy to make sure that we keep the riffraff away from you, and I definitely don't want, you know, a crush of fans coming after you and really ruining your draft experience. So I'll keep an eye out for you.
Professional bodyguard Jason Wilde. We appreciate you joining. Thank you, Jason.
All right, guys, take care. Be good.
Professional bodyguard, paparazzi disruptor, and 3-time Wisconsin Sports Writer of the Year, Jason Wilde, always keeping us on our toes. Lukashenski.
Sorry, see, this is where it always gets in the weeds, and it's why I don't care enough. Because it's like I spell it like look because it makes it more sense, but it's not look. It's like look. Like it's like got like a little U-ish in there. It's like look. Yeah, it's like Lukashenski.
Look.
Yeah, so I just, like, for a while, I was even doing it the way everybody's been calling it on the radio. Because, like, no, I was doing it on, like, the news reports, the way people were saying it, and I'm like, no, I'm going to say it the way my name's supposed to be said, and people are going to be like, what's going on? So it is what it is. I could not care less. I emphasize that with my entire heart. If you say Lukashenski, I'm going to smile. I'll be happy. I even say it the way Luka Chinsky's a lot of the way people. I'm good. You say it however you want. I'm going to smile, be happy. I'm just happy that you're saying hello.
I think when you and I were calling a Legion game together on like your second day here, I got it right because I literally asked you on the air, what is it? What is your last name? How do you say it? And then I think I got it right for like 3 innings, and then I guess over the last 8 months, it's just evolved into
you've probably been accepted
right.
too, because everybody else is calling it me. I've been called 100 different things. I think Polish people, most of us understand it's not going to happen.
True, Sparks is tough.
Yeah, well, you've kind of got like the anomaly with your last name being Polish, but like most of us with the skis throw a little like juice in there. Like our wonderful sponsor, Real Sports Cards, Tom Kolszewski. Yeah, and it's not spelled like that, but it's again, us Polish people got to look out for one another.
That's fair enough. All right,
Lukashinsky.
Lukashinsky.
There you go. And there you go.
I will get it at some point. Thank you to Jason for joining. When we return, the Bucks just pulled off an unprecedented comeback. What about this team with a couple of games to go in the regular season has us most optimistic? This is the Damn Sports Show, brought to you by Real Sports Cards in Waupun on 1430 ESPN and Daily Dodge TV.
Don't wait.
Attention sports fans. Whether you're chasing the hottest rookie card, that next big autographed sports card, or looking for expert card services, Real Sports Cards is here for you. For everything from sports to Pokemon cards, visit the store in downtown Waupun today. Go to the Apple Store or Google Play and download the Real Sports Cards app for all live online card breaks. Watch, collect, and win from anywhere. Real Sports Cards, where sports fans come to play.
Presented by Real Sports Cards in Waupun. Your favorite local sports teams, your favorite local sports hosts. It's Corey and Wally on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam.
We have an opportunity for you. ESPN's Fantasy Focused Football Podcast is coming to Green Bay on April 23rd, exactly 2 weeks from today, and 1 day before round 1 of the draft. Field Yates, Daniel Dopp, Mike Clay, Liz Loza, and Stefania Bell are doing a live show at the Tundra Trio. ESPN Wisconsin wants to send you and a friend, that's 2 free tickets, up to Green Bay to see the show happen live. Right now, the first caller at 920-887-9595. That is 920-887-9595. First caller wins 2 free tickets to ESPN's Fantasy Focused Football Live at the Tundra Trio. You can see the show up close, meet all of the hosts in person, including Field Yates, and get complimentary food and drinks, as well as Fantasy Focused Football Podcast merch. That is the first caller right now, 920-887-9595. Visit ESPNWisconsinContest.com for the full list of details. That's coming up.
It's coming up, and I'm, again, very disappointed I can't go myself, so I will say it very much nourished my heart to know that we will be seeing Jason Wilde. So that was kind of a, hey, you know what, you don't get Field Yates, you get Jason Wilde, let's freaking go.
I have a really good idea.
Oh, no.
We're going to do the show from there. I'll work that out later. Because we're going to spend the night there, because not only are we working the draft the next day, there is a draft day 5K at 8 a.m. And
Yeah,
I don't know
that's
about
not
you.
happening.
I
Not
don't feel
happening.
like waking up at 5 in the morning to drive 2 hours up to Green Bay unless we're just already in Green Bay.
Yeah,
Now,
I'm
now
not
what are we
doing
going to
that.
do for housing? I have no clue.
No, I absolutely, unequivocally, there you go, drilled it, will say no to that offer. I will not be doing any running where, listen,
Well, you wanted to go see this.
listen to how ridiculous this is. You have to pay money to torture yourself for 30 minutes.
To compete against other people.
You're not competing.
Yes.
You're not competing. You're going to be dusted by 150, like a ton of people.
I'll dust more people than those who dust me.
That might be true, but it's like cool. Like it's like
Yeah, it's fun.
the March Madness brackets for you. Like I finished in the 67th percentile. I'm the greatest.
Social facilitation, too. You always run better on race day than you do when you're training because you're around other people that are running.
Yeah, I do believe that because you're also like it's instinct. It's got to be. I got to be the
being
faster. Yeah, it's the Lions on Discovery Channel.
Yes.
I can't be the slowest water buffalo.
It sounds like a lot of fun, so you and I, we can go. It's not that bad either. I think it's like 35.
No, we're absolutely not doing a 5K. I will recommend doing this show. Absolutely, give us a call because
we can
you're
do the
going to
show. Nice.
We're going to absolutely recommend you guys call in, though. This is going to be a great opportunity. Again, Field Yates around draft time. Day before the draft, everything, the rumors are going to be flying. It's going to be the best place to get all your information. So you get to be right there in person, get free foods and drinks, too. So give us a call. You will not regret that.
And we only have 3 sets of tickets left. So make sure you give us a call one more time at 920-887-9595. We're giving these away today, tomorrow, and Friday, and then we're done. So gives you the 2 weeks to hopefully take a day or, depending on where you're at, a half day off work around that, go see the podcast up close and personal. And like Wally was saying, get the merch, get the food, get the drink, and then do the 5K the next morning.
Free.
Not 5K is not free.
Well, no, the 5K is not free
Yeah,
because
no.
you have to pay money to torture yourself because that makes sense. You should get paid to run a 5K.
I would do it so often.
I will. All of a sudden, I might be out there like, all right, well, we got to figure out where the next
But
bag
you
of
want to walk to
tilapia is
Madison.
going to come from.
You want to walk to Madison?
That's different.
That's
I'm
like-
walking, and it's of my own volition.
It's like 17 5Ks.
Well, and I want to torture myself because people enjoy that, and I'm here for you people at home. I want that content. I want you to be like, wow, let me flip this on and watch this big fat dude from Pittsburgh walk from Beaver Dam to Madison, which is going to happen. I am determined to make that happen. It will be happening. If I have to do it, like of my own volition, have to take a day off, I'm doing it. So we're going to get it contented up for you guys. Contented up. I kind of like that word.
You have so many different challenges going on because then when your fish fry or your fish, rice, and water challenge ends, the day that ends, you are also golfing against McKenna Nelson.
We're making sure it's verified, but it looks like there is a good chance.
We're going to try and lock that down. That might be the day that one challenge ends and another one starts.
Well, here, this is an open invite to McKenna also. We'll be talking to her, hopefully get her in studio next week, potentially the following week to recap this event.
Yeah.
You called it a challenge. I don't see it that way. I get to go out there. It's going to be a beautiful day. I'm going to basically become the state champion of Wisconsin. I think that happens. It's like back in WWE. If you beat Kurt Angle, you're now a gold medalist. So I'm going to be a state champion. I fully expect that to happen. We'll have to bring up conditions next week. Excited for that. Potentially little stakes on the line. So very excited to divulge that when we get that locked down.
We'll flip to the hardwood. The Bucks beat the Timberwolves 110-103, but that shouldn't be the headline. They overcame a couple of crazy deficits. They entered the fourth quarter down 20, outscored Minnesota 40-13 in the final quarter, and then you have a crazy run they went on?
34-3.
Yeah, why don't they just do it at the beginning?
Yeah, well, why don't you just have a 34-3 run every game? That's what people were joking online, and it would certainly make things a lot easier. I mean, it was one of those fun ones where if you didn't get to watch the game live, if you go back and watch one of those like 3-minute montages of the run, it's one of my favorite things to do in comebacks, especially when it's the home team that does. You can see the arena dead. 24-point deficit, fourth quarter, 10 minutes ago, everybody is down. And then all of a sudden, you start hitting shots. A.J. Green hit one from the moon to cut it to a single-digit deficit. And then all of a sudden, you see the belief happen. And then when they finally break through and they take that lead, I think everybody in the entire world that was watching that game knew it was over.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know. I don't want to get too excited. Corey Sparks, I'm going to try really hard. But this is one of those
Wally
games.
Lukashinsky.
This is one of those games. Nice job. I appreciate the pronunciation. This is one of those games that when you look back, this is the one that can start a run.
Yeah,
if you're going to go deep, this is the kind of game that can propel that to happen.
5 in a row, too. And the quick question I want to bring up before we kick it to break and come back and talk Beaver Dam softball, Beaver Dam baseball, and Beaver Dam girls soccer as well, is what about this team or this performance gives you the most optimism going into a bracket where they're likely not going to have more home games than they don't because they're locking in that 5th seed if they can get a couple more wins here. What gives me the most optimism is Bobby Portis finally being back. Talk about getting that spark of energy back into this lineup, being on this hot streak while getting him back. He was one of the catalysts on this team's run to win it all 4 years ago. And as long as Dame is out, this group's not going to be at full strength across the board. But getting this guy back, who outside of Giannis is one of the more guaranteed walking double-doubles on this team, and Brook Lopez as well, it's huge. He is their X factor if they're going to shock somebody in the first round. And they're in a much better spot to play the Pacers than the Knicks right now. So I'm in a pretty good mood. But the reason I have the most optimism is because Bobby Portis not only is back, he gets 4 tune-up games before the playoffs. They're not throwing him in cold.
And I would have agreed with that because that would have been my pick is Bobby Portis here. But I'll be different. And I'll tell you something I talked about with Monish yesterday. And it's the fact that even though it's not going to jump out at you on the stat sheet, those timely buckets from A.J. Green, that bucket to make it, I think, an 8-point game at that point where it was legitimately like a 35-footer. It was Steph range. It was dumb where he pulled up from. If he is able to even give you those timely buckets, give you like 5-6 points in the fourth quarter of games when they need to find someone, when you know Giannis is going to be taken away, when Bobby Portis is going to get a lot of attention, when Brook Lopez is going to be a lot, who knows, when Dame's back, you know he'll be at the top of the list too. I think that this is important. If you can get A.J. Green, you can get that scoring deeper into your team. That's the difference between good teams and great teams.
And all you need on this team for optimism in the future is just a few young guys who can ball because a lot of people on this squad are on the wrong side of 30. And in basketball, you're starting to talk about the twilight of someone's career. Giannis is barely 30. Brook is up there. Dame is up there. Middleton was up there. The whole reason they traded him out was to get younger and more available, which they did. But yeah, if you can get guys like A.J. Green in their low to mid-20s all of a sudden get going, you're not just excited for this year, you're excited for contract pending 2030.
This is where
awesome.
It compounds. It keeps happening. If you can just even get like a player a year that you can feel that you can start depending on, that's how you feel younger, and that's how you can maximize Giannis's youth. And right now we're seeing too, I know that you hate when I bring up LeBron all the time because I am an absolute LeBron guy.
I thought you hated him.
Like the greatest of all time. It's not even close. I won't entertain a conversation with you. What I will say is that we're seeing these guys that have put so much money and care into their bodies. You see Derrick Henry in the NFL. Giannis can still be that guy for 3-4 years of prime
he's well in his prime.
Giannis.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, this is where it's so valuable to get that secondary pieces around him. Might be a different looking team next year, but you know when Giannis is on the floor, this team's always going to be in the mix. and that's very exciting. And I'm a little bit more fired up than I was about a week ago. I would be lying to say I'm not.
Yeah, I think especially after that comeback, after the 34-3 run, and after getting Bobby back and winning 5 in a row, there's a lot more optimism in and around the Milwaukee area than there was a few days ago, especially if they can get to that second round and Dame's just out here teasing on his Instagram story workouts. That would be a lot of fun, health permitting, right? As long as he can come back and be as close to 100% as possible and make good decisions for himself going forward. When we return, spring sports overview. What does that look like? That's Beaver Dam softball against DeForest. That's Beaver Dam baseball's win over West Bend West. Jeffrey Freund had an awesome outing we'll go over. And Beaver Dam girls soccer gearing up for Columbus tomorrow. That's coming up next. Your Beaver Dam Sports Block on 1430 ESPN and Daily Dodge TV.
I'm Laura Trome.
Miss anything happening on the Damn Sports Show. Presented by Real Sports Cards in Waupun.
Oh. Oh, that's on me. Pulled up a video from the fasting frenzy earlier, got some comments, and naturally, Wally, your boy here, had volume on. So, hand up that
As one does.
As one does. But we're thankful for Tom for putting up with us over at Real Sports Cards because he is our favorite person in the world, especially around these times. And you know what? I'm going to help you out. If you're looking for a one-stop shop for all things sports cards, head over to Real Sports Cards in Waupun or check out their app. If you're looking at us on Daily Dodge TV, you can see a little tutorial. The bright orange logo is what you're looking at. They have live break streaming right on the app. You can grab individual cards on the go, be a part of a group, and watch your favorite players and teams as packs get open. Go to the Apple or Google Play Store today, look for that orange logo, and take your collection to the next level with the Real Sports Cards in Waupun, your local resource for all things sports cards, Pokemon cards, and more.
The draft is getting closer. I might have to go pay our buddy Tom a visit and see what those Cam Ward cards are going for. Don't really care about
This is the
rarity.
time.
Yeah.
If you wanted to get it, this is the time right now. Try to find like an incarnate Word card right now.
That would be absolutely nuts. Yeah, even a Washington State, go back a couple of years.
Yeah, go Cougs.
Yeah.
That's big time right there.
Fighting
Cam Ward.
Gardner Minshew's.
Who knows? Maybe he's available at 6. He won't be available at 6. He's not going to be available at 2.
I will be...
He's going to be a Tennessee Titan.
Yeah, I will be wearing his jersey to the draft if I'm allowed to. I think I'm allowed to.
I don't know why not. I mean, if we're...
I'll bring it.
I was just say, here's the thing. It sounds like there's a good chance you and I are working until 6, so right around draft time.
Mm-hmm.
That's when you make the little switch over, throw on the Cam Ward orange, that fantastic Miami orange look, and then all of a sudden you get to wear it for about 3 minutes, and Cam Ward's name's going to get called.
We're going to be in his presence. I didn't realize that.
Oh,
we're
here
going
we
to be
go.
like 150 feet away from him.
Oh, I don't think you understand how big the draft is.
200 feet away from him.
I don't, again, I need to reiterate, I don't think you understand how big the draft is.
I might be able to shake his hand
If
if he goes down the right lane.
he literally walks through the crowd of people to find you, yeah, he might be able to.
Well, we're working the draft. We're not one of the people.
I don't think you understand how big this area is. Every time I go to it, it gets bigger
Very
year
big.
in and
It's-
year out.
It's not, oh gosh.
Dude, I'm worried about the traffic getting back. Because this is already, you go to a Packers game, and you're like, wow, you know, we're going to be on the road for a little while here. It's a small town. You're getting out of there.
Yeah.
They're going to fit 250,000 people a day.
Yes.
That is going to be a bonanza.
And I will be the one to shake Cam Ward's hand.
I'm going to be like the guy getting out on the side of the highway when we're all parked and playing catch because I know I'm like, we're going to be here a while.
Just spend the night there.
Well,
do the 5K in the
It'll
morning.
be after that fasting frenzy. Might throw a little cheese curds or something. Have a little fun. Dip it in marinara, though, not ranch. You guys are nuts up here.
Go say hello to Cam Ward.
Actually, you know what?
We're going to run into him.
I will shut up after this. We do have to talk Beaver Dam Sports. I have not had the ranch with cheese curds in probably 8 to 10 years.
It's pretty good.
So I will vow to do that during the draft weekend this year. I promise. That's a promise to you, Beaver Dam.
You will be a free man diet-wise again.
I will be. 11 days.
Let's do a little overview. We'll start with Beaver Dam softball, go to baseball, and wrap up with girls soccer. Beaver Dam softball is taking on DeForest tomorrow. We are going to, weather permitting, do the Dam Sports Show out next to the softball diamond from 4 to 4:30. We'll take a quick break, come back around 4:40, 4:45-ish, and start the pregame show going into first pitch at 5 o'clock on Daily Dodge TV and 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam. That's the first conference game of the year at home. They did take on Wanakee yesterday, fell 5-3 on the road. And I'd like to just go over X factors really quickly. Mine is going to be something that Coach Hines told me today over the phone. You'll hear it in the interview tomorrow ahead of the game. Make the routine plays look routine. Errors and uncharacteristic mistakes are very typical the first handful of games because there's some turnover. You have some call-ups from JV. Some of your best players have graduated. Everyone's still gelling. The weather's not exactly great right now either. But if they can limit the errors, have one, have none, I think that's going to be huge because he said that's one of the things that really reared its ugly head in the loss to the Warriors. The Wanakee starter also walked 0 hitters when patience has been one of this offense's greatest attributes. Stay the course, still be patient. I'm not sure something like that happens again for the rest of the year. Watertown's got pretty good pitching. But it's not going to happen very often. So stay patient, but also, as Coach Hines was putting it, make those routine plays.
I'm very excited to see Addie Damon once again. She's been exceptional so far this year. Emma Jolka has too. The mound in general, I know that going into the year, we were like, they've lost 2 massive names.
Yep.
It's going to take a little bit of time to figure it out. those two have already taken the bull by the horns at this point. I know Addie Damon got technically the loss yesterday, but she only gave up 2 earned runs.
Yep.
Things are going to happen. It's early in the year like that, but she's been doing it at the dish too. She had a huge game a few days, about a week ago now. I want to say she went 3 for 4 from the plate. She's batting .333 at this point of the season. So I'm very excited to get out there and watch her again. Guest friend of the program. Got to point that out as well. Addie Damon
Was just on 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, and I guess too, shout out to the JV team getting a 5-2 win against Wanakee.
Nice.
It's going to be the next people in arms coming up. And again, another Damon. It's a factory over there. Emerson Damon with 2 RBIs in that JV win as well.
There we go. And for Beaver Dam baseball, they have now won back-to-back since dropping their opener 2-1. They had a 4-2 victory over West Bend West. Shout out Jeffrey Freund. He shut down the final 10 in a row in a relief effort. 3 1/3 innings pitched without giving up a single base runner. And he struck out 8 of those 10, including the final 3 to wrap up play in the final inning. Coach Wilkie's got his gadget, guys, but he has this guy starting games, slamming the door. Such a good tool to have in that toolbox, and no wonder he's playing at the next level, committed to UW River Falls a couple months ago.
Yeah, senior flamethrower?
Yes.
Yeah, we got it. It was pretty close. But he's been exceptional, too. I mean, this team, at this point of the year, there have been a lot of games that they're just holding opposition to 1-2 runs.
Defensively very sound, yeah.
Very sound. As soon as it starts clicking offensively, too, this unit's going to be a really, really fun watch. Kind of goes into what you were saying about the softball team. Just stay patient at the plate at this point. Get base runners on. Create some offense. It doesn't have to always be pretty because this pitching staff is going to keep them in games. They're going to be in a lot of them this year. When you have a guy that's able to top out around 90 miles an hour at this age, that's banana lands, and Jeffrey Freund has done that. So very excited to get out there and get to watch them here. We're going to be covering their games here probably in a couple weeks.
Next couple weeks, yep. I know the week of the career fair, we're definitely doing a game, and I think we have one before that, even if it isn't you and me. Someone is out there calling it. So they will be on Daily Dodge TV and 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam pretty soon. Yeah, 2 solid teams. Softball made it to the sectional final last year. Beaver Dam baseball made it to the regional final. Both teams are retooling very effectively and have winning records, each just with 1 loss apiece so far. And then Beaver Dam girls soccer had a tough loss to Wanakee. It was 8-0, but they won their first game 8-0 as well. So 1-1 currently. Good opportunity against Columbus. Really good opportunity for both teams that didn't have the best runs last year. The Cardinals were 3-13-1 last season, and Beaver Dam went 4-13-2. So if one of these 2 teams that both already have an early win can grab that second win, get a little momentum going into conference play, I think that's huge.
I think that sometimes when you do have a lopsided loss like this, it's honestly the easiest thing to flush from memory.
Yeah, like that is gone.
It's the bury the football game. You like that? Bury the football game. Put that out. It's out of your mind. You don't even think about it. Hey, you know what? We were not at our best. Go out there. You have an opportunity. This is a good matchup. Both these teams in a position. They could get a couple wins here, and then all of a sudden you start stacking those on top of each other. You could be looking at a little bit of a turnaround this year. So this is a big third test here for the Golden Beavers. I'm excited to see what they do.
When we return, friends of the program here on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam and Daily Dodge TV, mostly featuring our ESPN Wisconsin teammates. This is the Dam Sports Show on 1430 ESPN and Daily Dodge.
Here's
season tournament banner for it. The Damn Sports Show, presented by Real Sports Cards in Waupun. This is 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam.
You've got a friend in me.
It has been a while since we've done this segment. We've been having so many great in-studio interviews with various athletes and coaches for Beaver Dam High School athletics, which have been a blast. But with that, we have not done Friends of the Program, which we will do just after this. I want to remind you all that Key West Salon and Spa in Beaver Dam is very proud to have Jeremy the Barber. He's doing $18 cuts for those who are 18 years of age and under. Think a fresh cut for a prom or upcoming graduation. Jeremy brings experience to the barber chair and specializes in fades. He's a veteran, so has that military experience, and with that, has given military cuts before. Walk-ins are welcome Monday through Saturday at the salon. You can pop in when you need to get a cut. No need to schedule 6 weeks out. Just go in. They'll make sure that they can get you into their availability if that's possible. And Jeremy offers a punch card system. Buy 5 haircuts, get the 6th one free. Stay up to date on specials by visiting Key West Salon and Spa on Facebook, their Facebook page, the place to be for all updates there. This is Friends of the Program. We're going to take a look at 3 different audio bites from around Good Karma Brands.
Yeah, let's start right away with the man we talked to earlier today, Jason Wilde, because he joined the Saturday Scramble, which very excited. You and I are going to be a part of that this Saturday as well. But he was joined with Pablo Iglesias and Alex Gravatt, and he was asked if the Packers are just one player away from being a Super Bowl contender.
Well, let me put it this way. I think they're one marquee player away, but I think that one player can emerge from their existing team. And if that's the case, then they won't be one player away, right? I mean, look, I don't know who that player is going to be. I don't know if it's going to be Jaden Reed. I don't know if it's going to be Rashawn Gary becoming the guy that they paid him to be.
Is that player on the team right now, Corey Sparks?
I think so. I'm going to trust management. I'm going to trust the front office that has spearheaded a successful football program since before you and I were alive. My vote is to Jaden Reed again. I'm going to triple down on him at this point.
You are in love with that man.
That would solve a lot of issues if all of a sudden we look back, we check back a year from now and go, Jaden Reed just had a 1,300-yard season.
I think that you're going to find out on April 24th. I was almost saying 23rd, but that's the day of the
24th.
great.
Yep.
I was going to say that a great giveaway that we had earlier
And
today.
The 5K is the 24th.
Nobody cares about the 5K. But on the 24th, you're going to find out very quickly what the Packers think, because if they do take a wide receiver in the first round, I think that they're betting on Rashawn Gary being able to still be that guy. If they go and take an edge rusher, very clearly they're betting that Jaden Reed or one of those other wide receivers are going to be able to step up and emerge. We'll see. I'm still a little skeptical to this point. We'll go to the next one where Homer was on Wilde and Tausch answering if he believes if Jordan Love is the guy, if he's the dude right now.
Exactly the same way as I am with Goody and LaFleur. They're all good. The question is, none of them have yet been good enough, and somebody has to become special. Somebody has to become a field tilter in their job for them to get to the Super Bowl.
I think that's a fair analysis. If there is a field tilter on this team right now, it was the year that Josh Jacobs just put on. Everyone else is solid. No one is really talking about, outside of offensive line before this offseason, the depth of this Packers team. They are vast. They are solid across the board. They just don't have a lot of game changers in spots that they need game changers in right now.
And that's where it's been really hard to evaluate if Jordan Love has done enough or if he's not done enough. People love to go back and point to Peyton Manning and be like, well, look what Peyton Manning was able to do with no wide receivers for a period of time. And it's like, well, I think that you fail to remember that Peyton Manning won one Super Bowl truly as an elite quarterback.
Yeah.
The last one that he won, he was a liability for the Broncos.
Carried out. Yeah.
He was. And even in that year where they beat the Bears, it was the best Colts defense that we'd seen from a Colts team in a long time.
Right.
They weren't loaded across the board. So I'm at least hopeful. On that, I said I was skeptical before. I'm a little wishy-washy. Look at me. I'm hopeful on Jordan Love. I'm going to stay that way. How about Adam Schefter on Jen, Gabe, and Chewy on which wide receiver he believes will be available at pick 23?
I think that's right in the range that Emeka Egbuka would be there.
Okay.
I think it's possible that Ted McMillan could be there.
Ooh. I know. Egbuka, that's the one that I naturally am a Buckeye grad.
Pre-draft visit, too.
He did, and that's important. We're going to ask Friday to Jason Wilde, too, what that really looks like what that means.
Compared to a pro day, too, which McMillan, Goody was at McMillan's Pro Day a couple of weeks ago. So Pro Day for one, pre-draft visit for the other receiver. They're interested. I don't know how interested.
Is Igbokwe the guy right now where if I made you decide who the Packers should take, and let's just pretend a lot of these guys that might be gone that we're talking about are available, is he the guy for you?
Yeah, give me the national champion.
I like that. Oh, man, way to talk me into it. All right, cool. I'm in. Give me Igbokwe.
Even after I just sang the praises of Jaden Reed. Both could be true.
They can be. He could be a great number 2. Nobody said he couldn't be. He's just not a number 1.
Fair enough. We have the Homer Hour coming up next on 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam. We will join you out at the Softball Diamond tomorrow for pregame coverage from 4 to 4:30. 4:45 is when pregame coverage for the actual event starts. We will see you then. Have a good night.
We stand